C'est bon.
אתם זוכרים שמתחילת המבצע אני הבטחתי לכם שמתקני הגרעין של איראן יושמדו בדרך זו או אחרת. ההבטחה הזו קוימה.
Those who are familiar with the politics of the region, they know that the Americans' involvement in this matter will 100% be at their loss. The loss they receive will probably be much more than the damage Iran will bear. If America have a military presence on the ground, without a doubt it will be an irreparable loss. They are threatening us, and they are also clearly asking us to surrender. With an unacceptable language, they ask the nation to surrender, and they ask us to come and surrender, which surprises us. First of all, they should threaten someone who is scared of their threat. The nation of Iran has shown that they does not feel intimidated by the threat of those doing the threatening.
So as you all heard, Israel and Iran are at war. In today's topic, we will look into why this is actually happening and how it all came to this. The history between the two. Believe it or not, before 1979, Israel and Iran were allies. Iran was one of the first majority countries to recognize Israel after its founding in 1948. Iran maintained economic, security, and even military ties with Israel. They saw each other as strategic partners against the Arab nationalism in the region, and Israel even provided technical assistance and military training to Iran. So how did everything go wrong? Well, this happened because of the Islamic Revolution. The change of government, the new Islamic Republic, viewed Israel as an illegitimate state and a Zionist regime, as they say, a tool of Western imperialism. Iran cut off all diplomatic and commercial ties, converting the Israeli embassy in Tehran into a Palestinian one. So the Iranians heavily invested into terrorism in Israel. To name a few terrorist groups that they supported, there were Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad in Gaza, and the Houthis in Yemen, all of whom oppose Israel. Not to forget that both countries are involved in regional conflicts, particularly in Syria. There have been numerous reports of cyber attacks and covert operations carried out by both sides against each other's infrastructure and interests. So, Israel had enough. Their intelligence was saying that the Iranians were really close to making nuclear weapons, so they didn't want to risk it. And on 13th of June 2025, Israel started with the operation as they called Operation Rising Lion. Israeli bombers were sent with the mission to bomb Iranian's capital, Tehran, the Natanz and Fordow nuclear enrichment facilities, the IR-40 heavy water reactor near Arak, senior military commanders and nuclear scientists, ballistic missile sites in western Iran, and oil refinery and production facilities in the south, Paras, a natural gas field. And then, after the bombing, 18 hours later, Iran launched a two-wave ballistic missile attack, Operation True Promise 3. All this led to what we have today, a war where bombs and drones are being sent to each other, killing innocent people, destroying military places, and destroying the economy of each other. And now for the latest news. The US joined Israel against Iran on 22nd of June 2025. President Donald Trump claims the strikes on the key nuclear facilities at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan were very successful and warns against any retaliation, saying, "Remember, there are many targets left." Iran says Trump betrayed diplomacy, and also Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps warned the United States to prepare for retaliation. The Revolutionary Guard said it would, quote, use options beyond the understanding of the US and Israel that must expect regrettable responses. Now for the outcomes that could be possible in this war. Number 1. Control confrontation. This is one of the highest probabilities for now. Continued exchange of attacks. Both sides could continue to strike each other's military and, as seen recently, nuclear facilities, but without a full-scale invasion or widespread regional conflict. Israel aims to degrade Iranians' military and nuclear capabilities while Iran continues its retaliatory strikes. No direct US involvement in ground combat. The US has already joined Israel in striking Iranians' nuclear sites, indicating a willingness to intervene to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. However, a full-scale US military intervention beyond airstrikes might still be avoided if possible to prevent a wider regional conflagration. Limited impact on global energy markets. So far, strikes have primarily targeted domestic Iranian energy facilities, not export terminals. However, risk remains for disruption to the Straits of Hormuz, which would significantly impact global oil prices. Diplomatic efforts continue but with limited breakthroughs. European nations push for talks, but Iran states it is not seeking negotiations while Israeli attacks continue. Now for the second outcome, the medium probability, a border conflict involving the US. Direct attack on US assets. If Iran directly targets US military bases or personnel in the region, or severely disrupt energy supplies, it could trigger a more direct and extensive US military involvement. Uncertain end to the conflict. Even with the US involvement, a decisive end to the conflict is not guaranteed. It could lead to a prolonged and destructive regional war. The last outcome, and the lowest probability outcome, is that Iran steps back and engages in nuclear talks. Ceasefire and renewed negotiations. Under immense pressure from this conflict, Iran might be willing to engage in serious nuclear talks in exchange for ceasefire and to reconstitute on Israel. The US might pressure Israel into a ceasefire to facilitate such negotiations. Iran's reluctance to surrender capabilities. This scenario is considered low probability because Iran is unlikely to willingly abandon its nuclear capabilities and ballistic missiles, as it is perceived as a surrender. Anyways, it's way more complex than this, and the issue is still ongoing. I just hope this gets resolved soon without any more tragic deaths. So yeah, thank you for watching the video. This was just a quick overview of what's happened and the history behind it. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Goodbye!